Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
On 1080 The Fan. It's crunch time.
Let's go!
Where Dirt and Sprague crunch the hot topics you want to hear.
What's the pressure? Don't sit here and act like there's no... We get nervous teeing off in front of a gallery on the 10th hole at Eastmoreland.
Crunch time, brought to you by Crunch Fitness. With memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com.
Crunch Time brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 a month. Find your Crunch Time in Portland, Vancouver, online at crunch.com. Get to the NFL Pressure Cooker coming up top of the hour. Sprague in the line, of course, at 8:30. So keep your fake sponsors rolling in. 503-864-6326. One listener asking, are we going to run super late to break for this segment to hold Swag from vacation mode? Let's go till 8:04. Just linger.
If he's going to get really pissed about us breaking late, it's definitely this segment.
We won't do that. It is Ben Gobranson who is starting at quarterback for Oregon State.
I have been on my I don't know.
You're not
what
saying
vortex.
it.
I clearly not.
You're in Long Beach state of mind.
If
That's
he
where
wore
you're
a
at.
pilot's uniform, that name
You would
be
know
correct.
that name.
Yeah,
You would know that. Ben Gobranson will get the start again this weekend. Good and bad with him last week, right? I mean, the passing game was better than what you had seen earlier in the year, but threw a devastating pick six and another one in the red zone. Where's the care meter on the road at Air Force this weekend?
The care meter in
terms of a fan. Where's your investment?
They could
in the
lose
game?
this game, so it has to be some investment. You need to win this game to salvage something.
Does 5-7 salvage it?
No, 5 and 7
that's why I asked
is a
where the
massive
care meter is.
disappointment. 4 and 8 feels somehow worse, and it's only a game difference.
In one game, it is a big difference.
Especially when you start 4 and 1.
Yeah. That would mean you would end the season on a 7-game losing streak.
He comped that Bray did this week to Jonathan's rebuild. He said it feels a lot like the rebuild we had here. Guys are practicing hard. And I'd say, like, okay, I think there's a big difference between what they were doing with Jonathan in the rebuild versus like where you were, what you said you were the preseason, and what it's looked like so far. This is a massive one. This is a coaching game. This is not injuries and, Sprague, they're down 4 defensive guys. They've gotten guys back. You're settling on quarterback. You've made the change at quarterback. You're settling on a guy. Air Force won last week in comeback fashion.
They did.
Air Force is not a great team. This is a coaching game. And this isn't you fire him if he loses this and they finish 4 and 8. But it certainly is for me, and I can only speak for me, it certainly is an eye-opening, oh, God, I don't know what this is anymore, and I don't know where this is going to go. You cannot just sell me it's a year 1 rebuild, no big deal thing. This is a coaching game this weekend. You go beat Air Force. Go beat Air Force. This is a coaching game.
Hey, you're playing 2-7 Air Force. Now, to your point, they did get off the schneid last week against Fresno State. They outscored them, I want to say, 19-7 in the second half.
Yes, yeah.
Somewhere around there. So they got hot late. We all know about Air Force. They don't throw the football. It's just they're going to run the triple option at you. And so it's an interesting challenge for a defensive head coach to find a way to slow that down. Oregon State's, I would argue defensively, it wasn't really their problem last week. They held San Jose State to 17 points as an offense, and that, if I told you that going in, you'd probably say, okay, I mean, that's not terrible. San Jose State can sling it around a little bit. They got one of the better wide receivers in the country, a big body guy that can go out and make plays. That was Nick Nash, I think is his name.
He's one of the best receivers
in the country. He's having an awesome year. And he had, I believe, a touchdown overturned in that game as well, and he still had 161 yards and a touchdown. So
he had an easy drop late in that game, too, and I was shocked by it. I'm like, really, him?
He did. And so defensively, that wasn't really your issue. You hold him to 17 points, that's not a big problem. Your problem was on the other side of the ball, and you only scored 13, and you got inside the 20-yard line 4 times, I want to say, and came away with 3 points in those situations because you had a fumble on your first drive. You had obviously the field goal that you kicked, the go for it on 4th down attempt where you didn't get it, and then late in the game, Gobranson threw another interception inside the red zone. So you had your cracks at it. I'm with you. I know it doesn't seem like it's that big of a difference at the end of the day. Just any sort of positive news right now for that program is desperately needed. And I don't know
touchdowns in 2 games, Dirt.
Yeah, I don't
score
know.
a touchdown.
I don't know how positive beating Air Force is, but it's sure as hell better than the opposite of losing to Air Force.
You lose to Air Force 2-7.
They are 2-7 on the year.
Yeah,
2-7 on the year.
Boy, I think that attendance
You got a 4-game skid going. You got Washington State coming to town next weekend.
There might be a lot of crimson and gray in that crowd next week if they lose this game to Air Force. That's the fear.
Because if they win this weekend, they got a chance to obviously be a one-loss team this year. So they play tomorrow. Weather, by the way, will not be an impact on the game. For those wondering, they're going to Colorado. It's going to be like 54 and sunny. So no weather impact in any way, shape, or form there. Cougs looking to go to 9-1. They had a bit of a clunker last time they were on the road at San Diego State a couple of weeks ago. Another evening game. I feel like the Cougs have been predominantly the night team of this deal.
They have been.
Yeah, the Bees have gotten a lot of 12:30 games, and the Cougs have played a lot of late games. They're at 6:30 tomorrow at New Mexico. I don't know a ton about New Mexico other than the fact that this is a game that they should win. They played very similar games against San Diego State. New Mexico went in there and won 21-16. Washington State went in there and won 29-26. But they have lost 2 of their last 3, including tough, close losses to Colorado State and Wyoming. And look, the Cougs don't have a shot at going to the playoff because they don't have a conference affiliation this year. If they did, they'd maybe have a puncher's chance at it.
Yeah.
If they were in the Mountain West and maybe get a rematch against Boise State or whatever. But a chance to go 9-1, as we highlighted yesterday. Not a lot of one-loss seasons in the history of Washington State's program, and a nice opportunity tomorrow night.
The difference for me, I know they struggled a little bit with San Diego State. You can make an argument they could have lost that game. Sure, I'll give you that. I think the reason this is going to be different in my head is New Mexico is just dog crap in rush defense. Yep. They are second to last in their own conference. They're on average giving up 228 yards.
That's not good.
What's John Mateer like to do?
He loves to run the football.
So I know not everything is equal and the same. San Diego State's not a great rushing team either, and they were right there to win the game. I just think this is going to be different, and we'll see if I'm wrong. But I just think Washington State kind of has the right. They have the right eye on the prize.
Yeah.
And they're very close to having one of the more special seasons. If they can win this game and then beat Oregon State in Corvallis to cap off what would be a remarkable season for them, despite the schedule being easier for sure. And that's why I think they're going to end up pulling away in this one.
John Mateer, to that point, is their leading rusher as well. He's their obviously starting quarterback. He is their leading rusher at 630 yards on the season.
Well, and as we can tell with the story and reporting, Dirt, he's clearly playing for money.
Yeah, he could be. So, we'll see how that ends up going in the offseason. He's having an awesome year for them. They are on the road at New Mexico tomorrow night. Let's get to the NFL pressure cooker. That's where we'll start the final hour. We'll dive into a couple other notes from the weekend. We'll get to Sprague in the Line coming up at 8:30, so get your fake sponsors in, 503-864-6326. It's a loaded final hour. Don't go anywhere. Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.